It's Tiffany's Content with more daily weather for you, and we're going to talk about what's going on today and for the next few days in the USA. So let's go ahead and look at that satellite imagery. You can see it's still bubbling up in the Gulf Coast. Louisiana is getting hammered with a lot of rain, thunderstorms, lightning, and flooding. Also, tornadoes are out there as well. The watches are definitely in effect. You can see it going up into Georgia and up into the northeast. But let's zoom in more, and you can see right there Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, definitely going up into Tennessee through the Mississippi Valley. Definitely going to be a lot of rain, flooding, flash flood warnings as well. So make sure that you're aware. Look at where all the lightning and thunderstorms are right now, right there in Louisiana and also Georgia. So it's definitely taking a toll on that southeast. And look at all that, cloud cover and snow starting to build up on the west coast as well. I'll show you more of that towards the New Mexico area as we go ahead. Let's take a look at the map here, and you can see the Gulf of Mexico is sprucing up those storms. You still see that snow on the west coast, and even in the northwest you're going to see still more of that freezing rain, that black ice down there as well. It's starting to ease up, but it's still in Vermont and New Hampshire, and also some in Wisconsin and Michigan. But look at the Gulf Coast for the next few days. There's going to be multiple rounds of thunderstorms, lightning, flooding, and still that snow is coming in on the west coast through Colorado and down through New Mexico, and that's going to cause a snowstorm because it's colliding with that system in the Gulf Coast. It's going to be right there by Kansas and Oklahoma as well, and you can see that on this current watches for today. So look at all that flooding activity in the Gulf Coast. Just look at how much of that. You got special marine warnings, gale warnings as well, and then you got that freezing fog coming right out of New Mexico, and then as you go up you'll see more winter weather through the Colorado and through the mountains, and then avalanche warnings in Idaho, and it's still bringing that atmospheric river with all those gale warnings on the west coast, and the northeast is windy and foggy. But what does it feel like today? Oh, it was 80 last night in Florida, and it's going to be that temperature again today going into the weekend, but it's sprucing up those storms in the Gulf Coast. You're still going to see that cold air, 10 degrees coming out of Montana, going into those central plains, and of course the Midwest is still cold, but the East Coast is starting to warm up as well. But look at this, is going to be the rain for today, and that's a significant amount of rain with all that cold air still being in the clouds. It definitely can cause more freezing clouds dripping down to black ice, so we have to be aware of that. All this rain is definitely helping the droughts, but it can also cause a lot of black ice. So this is for the next few days, and it's still going to be a lot coming in. This is still a lot, I told you, with all of that mixed precipitation coming in. Even on that west coast with that atmospheric river, I'm going to show you some more images of that, but that is coming in, and that's going to cause more flooding as well over there. So we had a lot of flooding right now in the United States. Take a look at that Gulf Coast, all type of warnings. It's currently flooded right now. You can see it's going to be heavy rain and severe weather. Even Alaska is sprucing up. A lot of cold, hazardous air, mixed precipitation on the west coast. So it's definitely a lot going on. Okay, for this special weather announcement, day one, you're going to see all that precipitation coming in, that lightning and thunderstorms and severe weather, excessive rainfall, flash flood warnings in the Gulf Coast going up the northeast. So this is what I'm saying, and all that yellow can definitely mean tornadic activity as well. So remember, when they're highlighting this is serious business, because it's a lot of warm air meeting with that cold air and colliding together. And you can see that here in this image right here. All that lightning and thunderstorms is coming right in through Louisiana and definitely taking a toll, going right through Mississippi, Alabama, even Georgia is feeling this, going up into Tennessee and the Mississippi Valley. So this is a huge storm that's happening right now. And out of that west coast, you still have all that mixed precipitation, that snow, all of that, ice coming through. And of course, this rain meeting up with the system in the Gulf is taking a toll up the northeast coast. So everything is working together, trying to thaw things out, but causing a lot of problems. It's a lot of flooding going on, and you can see that here on this goes. You can definitely see that blue is definitely all that fog, that dense fog, and that white is all that ice and cold clouds that's coming down into, mixed precipitation and trying to build, tornadic activity. You can see that here. These, polys and squares and shapes are definitely tornado watches that are coming through. I can, tell you that. This is zoomed in. You can see when they're putting all these shapes out there, they're feeling things. They're seeing things happening, and you just want to be aware. Look at all that lightning and thunderstorm as well in Georgia, going right into the Carolinas. So this is very serious. This is a strong strip of thunderstorms and lightning coming through that can cause tornadic activity. So just make sure you're aware. It's going all the way up that northeast coast, bringing a lot of ice and snow as well up there as it's trying to ease up, but again, it's still dangerous out there. But let me tell you that it's starting to warm up. 83 down in Florida. Come on, it is so warm down here. It feels like summer, but it's meeting up with that cold air. You see that moderate temperatures in the central plains as it goes up and it gets colder. Tonight though, temperatures will drop and you're going to see it more colder and cooler on that west coast. But goodness, everybody in that Midwest is definitely happy today. They're probably don't even have on jackets. I'm telling you, when it feels like 30, 40, they get happy. But look, let's see how much snow is currently down on the ground right now. That west coast still have 17 inches of snow on the ground. Okay, so there's still snow out there. 10 inches in the Midwest and 6 inches going up that east coast. And for the next 48 hours, it's going to be more snow coming down through the Great Falls down to, Salt Lake, Utah, and going right into, Denver, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. And of course, that northeast coast. We have a storm overview though in New Mexico, another big snowstorm. I told you, okay? It's, it's not big, but it's big enough to have warnings and watches out here. So everybody just be aware, and it's going to happen as early as tonight, okay? So, again, this is the images for it, and all that bootaloo is the cold clouds in there. And then as it gets more lighter, that can be ice and, just freezing fog and freezing rain. So, but definitely more snowfall with that blue, okay? And look at that, more atmospheric river coming in. You see that swirl. When it gets that swirl starting to get an eye, it's definitely starting to move on in and work its way into that west coast with all that mixed precipitation. And it's a stationary front, so it's going to sit over there with that snow and that rain for a little while, and then as it goes down into the west coast and then goes up to the northeast coast, okay, with all that rain and lightning and thunderstorms, all that low pressure is up there trying to move on out, but then it has a stationary front as it exits. So again, more of that precipitation is also on this east coast, okay? Definitely in the Gulf, it has a lot. And look at the arrows. It's moving in and up the Gulf. It's moving in on both sides of Florida, okay? Going to be, definitely a lot of precipitation today. So you're going to see a lot of clouds in Florida today, okay? So just make sure that the east coast is going to have a lot of, rain today, and even still some ice out there. So just make sure that you're aware. In, Vermont and New Hampshire, it's still a lot of ice going up into Maine, okay? So make sure you're aware, okay? Thank you so much for tuning in. I am here with you daily, giving you updates on this weather. We are reacting to this weather. So make sure that you subscribe. It's Tiffany's Content. Like, share, subscribe.